Invincible has some of the craziest villains ever. Some want to rule the world, some just like punching superheroes in the face, and some, well, they probably need therapy. Today we're looking at every villain from Invincible. So, grab some popcorn, and let's talk about the bad guys who make life miserable for Mark Grayson. We are starting with baddie Anissa. Oh boy, Anissa. Where do we even start with this walking red flag? You know you're a messed up villain when even the other Viltrumites are like, hey, maybe chill a little? This lady doesn't just believe in world domination. She wants to fast-track it. And when Mark says, no thanks, does she respect his opinion? Nope. Instead, she throws hands like a school bully who just found out recess is canceled. Next is Conquest, the Viltrumite grandpa who thinks retirement is for the weak. This guy shows up looking like he bench presses planets for fun and decides Earth is the perfect place for his midlife crisis beatdown tour. He treats battles like they're his personal CrossFit sessions, leaving a trail of destruction that would make a demolition derby look like a tea party. And let's not forget his charming personality, because nothing says villain like a guy who smiles while turning cities into rubble. Then we have Thrag. Thrag, the Viltrumite leader with an ego so inflated, it's a wonder he doesn't float away. This guy was bred from birth to be the ultimate warrior, and boy, does he know it. Thrag decided to father an army of children to reclaim his throne. Someone needs to tell Thrag that just because you're the strongest Viltrumite doesn't mean you have to be the biggest jerk in the universe. Next, Angstrom Levy, the self-proclaimed genius who thought merging his brain with countless versions of himself across the multiverse was a stellar idea. This guy's plan backfired so spectacularly that he went from, I want to save the world, to I must destroy Invincible. Instead of seeking therapy for his newfound insanity, he opts to unleash alternate evil Invincibles on our world. Next is Cecil Stedman, the government's shady uncle who thinks world peace comes with a side of zombie soldiers and secret experiments. This man trusts no one but expects everyone to trust him. He's got Invincible on speed dial. He's the kind of guy who says it's for the greater good while unleashing nightmare fuel science projects. He should try saving the world without acting like a comic book Lex Luthor knockoff. Next is Biplane, the villain who thought strapping a jet engine to his back was a genius move. This guy decided that robbing banks in Denver wasn't thrilling enough, so he laced his suit with plutonium, aiming to turn the city into a radioactive wasteland. Enter the Immortal, who, instead of a standard takedown, yeets Biplane into space like yesterday's trash. Next is Rudolph Connors, the guy who thought, why not play superhero from my pickle jar life support pod? This genius decided that piloting robots remotely wasn't enough. He had to clone himself into a teenage heartthrob using Rexplode's DNA. With his new body, he leads the Guardians of the Globe, all while harboring a not-so-secret crush on Monster Girl. Then there is Doc Seismic. Armed with earthquake-inducing gauntlets, he targets monuments like Mount Rushmore, claiming they're symbols of oppression. Because nothing says, fight the power, like causing tectonic tantrums. After a tumble into a crevasse during a scuffle with Invincible, he re-emerges underground, ruling over Magmanites, lava creatures that probably didn't sign up for his revolution. Next is Battle Beast, the intergalactic lion man who treats every fight like it's his last day on Earth. This guy's idea of a good time is finding the toughest opponent and battling them to the death. He nearly turned Invincible into a smear on the pavement and left the Guardians of the Globe wishing they'd called in sick. With an unquenchable thirst for violence, he roams the universe seeking a warrior mightier than himself, hoping for a glorious death as his only reward. Next is Dinosaurus, the eco-terrorist T-Rex with a superiority complex. This guy thinks the best way to save the planet is by causing mass destruction. He once flooded coastal cities to curb overpopulation because who needs subtlety? With a name like Dinosaurus, you'd expect a theme park attraction, not a walking extinction event. His human alter ego, David Anders, is a slacker who transforms into this scaly menace whenever he feels apathetic. Next is Elephant, the budget-friendly knockoff of Marvel's Rhino. This guy thought bonding a synthetic elephant hide to his skin would make him the king of the criminal jungle. With super strength that lets him lift 15 tons, you'd think he'd aim higher than petty crimes. But no, our tusked troublemaker ends up as a punching bag for heroes like Invincible. Next is Embrace, the Israeli supervillainess who thought phasing through walls and possessing bodies was her ticket to the big leagues. As a member of the Order, she flaunted her intangibility and invisibility like a kid with new toys. But let's be real, when your grand plan involves hijacking someone's body, maybe rethink your life choices. Next is Eruptor. With powers like energy projection and pyrokinesis, you'd think he'd aim higher than grammar policing. But no, he ends up as Wolfman's punching bag getting tossed out of an office and knocked out cold. Next is Kill Cannon, the villain who thought attaching a laser cannon to his arm would make him invincible. This guy's grand debut involved robbing a bank, only to be thwarted by a girl with powers, marking his first of many failures. Sporting a durable battlesuit and that signature arm cannon, he became Adam Eve's recurring nemesis, though punching bag might be more accurate. Next is Machine Head, the cyborg crime boss who thought auto-tuning his voice would make his threats more menacing. This guy runs a protection racket and dabbles in drug trafficking. When Titan and Invincible tried to take him down, Machine Head had 6 super-powered henchmen on speed dial, including Battle Beast, turning the fight into a superhero smackdown. Next is Titan. He starts off as a small-time thug, using his stone-cold exterior to shake down the little guys. But then, he has a midlife crisis and thinks, why not dethrone Machine Head and become the new Kingpin? So, he dupes Invincible into helping him, playing the "I'm just a family man" card. Next thing you know, Titan's sitting in the big chair proving that in the world of crime it's all about upgrading your hustle. Next is Tether Tyrant, the villain who thought wielding 30 stretchy tentacles would make him the kingpin of crime. This guy partnered with Mag Maniac, forming a duo that sounds more like a rejected buddy cop show than a threat. Hired by Machine Head as muscle, Tether Tyrant found himself on the receiving end of Invincible's fists more often than not. Next is Furnace. This guy's body is pure living plasma, so naturally, he dons a steam-powered iron suit with flamethrowers because subtlety isn't his strong suit. He teamed up with Machine Head, thinking he'd be the next big thing in crime. Next is Kursk. As the arch-nemesis of Red Rush, he found himself outpaced and outclassed, like a toaster trying to race a bullet train. After Red Rush's untimely demise, Kursk decided to upgrade his career by joining Machine Head's motley crew of henchmen. Armed with electrical powers that could make a Tesla coil jealous, he faced off against Invincible and Titan, only to be zapped into submission by the Guardians of the Globe. Next is Omnipotus. This guy doesn't just snack on worlds, he devours entire realities. With strength that could bench press galaxies and durability that laughs in the face of supernovae, he's the universe's ultimate food critic. Except everything's on the menu. When he crossed paths with Invincible and the Guardians of the Globe, it was like ants trying to stop a bulldozer. Next is Universa. She is the towering alien warrior queen who thought Earth's energy reserves were her personal snack bar. She zooms in from a distant planet aiming to siphon our nuclear juice to save her own world. But who does she bump into? Invincible and Adam Eve, who aren't exactly thrilled about her intergalactic energy heist. After a scuffle that leaves Invincible seeing stars, Universa gets a one-way ticket to Stronghold Penitentiary. Next is Octoboss, the octopus-like supervillain who thought robbing banks with his squidmen would ink him into the Criminal Hall of Fame. This tentacled terror has a knack for butchering the English language, making his threats as confusing as they are comical. Despite his superhuman strength and durability, Octoboss often finds himself on the losing end against heroes like Invincible and the Guardians of the Globe. Next is Powerplex, the guy who decided that blaming Invincible for his sister's death. Scott Duvall, a Pentagon scientist, transforms into Powerplex by stealing experimental tech that lets him absorb kinetic energy and blast it out as electricity. His grand plan? Lure Invincible into a trap by faking his own family's kidnapping. Shockingly, this backfires spectacularly, leading to the accidental deaths of his own family. Next is the Mauler twins, the blue-skinned, muscle-bound geniuses who can't decide which one of them is the original. With superhuman strength that lets them swat heroes like flies and intellects sharp enough to rival top scientists, you'd think they'd aim higher than robbing banks and attacking the White House. But no, their grand schemes often involve getting pummeled by Invincible or outsmarted by the Guardians of the Globe. And that's a wrap Invincible's villains are wild, but which one do you think is the worst? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe, unless you want battle beasts showing up at your house for a friendly fight.